course. This is going to be a fun match. Talon up against Tundra. Talon, drafting-wise, are cooking up extremely hard. This is not something I've seen them play in other third-party tournaments, the most recent one being Snow Rui.
Oh.
This is entirely different. Smoke breaks. Can he get
It certainly does. Ramsey's being chased down already, and Jokam's got him with the disruption, but do they have the proper setup? They do with the arrow from Akashi. Toss back on Ramsey's. He should be going down here, and this should be the official first blood of the road to the International for WS of all people.
Yeah, that's a very good pickup for our off-lane DK, having that strong start into the double bracer timing. Again, he did go for Fire Dragons, we heard our panel talk about. So he's going to be just sitting back and farming. A little bit more to help with that laning phase is going to do wonders for him. And pretty big kill to find early on. Again, just getting that early activity out. The wards have not been spotted from Tundra, though. So they should still have that forward vision for themselves as the lane goes on. But again, this is going to be fun. I mean, we've got the new tech coming out as well from Topson, the mid-NP that we've seen a lot of in other third-party tournaments. For me, most recently, I believe Execration's been doing this quite a fair bit in, like, Wallachia qualifiers as well. Lewis has been playing this a ton. Topson, of course, probably been playing it on his pubs quite a fair bit as well. Should be a very, very interesting matchup against the Ricky. We heard the panel touch on that just a little bit. And this matchup doesn't really care about each other too much. The Ricky can play aggressive. He does have a little bit more agi bonus attacking non-hero units, so he can also somewhat delete the Ironwood tree. Although early on, it is still highly inflated. Doesn't give that much gold for how much it does in lane. So I'm keen to see how Mikado handles this. But as the levels go up, it shouldn't be too rough for the Ricky. Although, again, early on, this is definitely way more favorable for Topson. Probably for the first 3 levels, or maybe even the first 4 levels, it's going to be pretty much in the NP's way.
Yeah, certainly this Ironwood trade makes it very, very hard to actually lane for Mikado, but we'll see how he does deal with it as the levels do go up. Of course, the side lanes, Jonathan. Top lane, you've got Pure and Whitemon against WS and Jokam. What do you think about this? Because I believe Winter was saying he didn't really like the idea of a DK versus Morph matchup. Do you kind of agree with that sentiment? Do you like this laning stage from either side?
It's a very stable lane for WS. He's not going to be able to fully bully out Pure. Neither will Jokam by any means, and I think that's the one thing. Pure should still be able to have himself a relatively free time farming up, unless he overextends, but you probably aren't going to be looking to play too aggressive, even with the Tusk on hand. You have drinking buddies for Whitemon as well here, so there is a way to kind of try to reposition your Morphling just a bit if there is some commitment later on. But it's going to boil down to a really strong farming lane. If Jokam can get the space to stack up without being contested by Whitemon, that's where WS can really start to shine later on.
Speaking of Whitemon, he's taking a fair bit of damage on his way out. In fact, it seems like WS might actually be able to secure. Do they have enough? They do. Jokam will get it with the Shadow Poison stacks, and it was only 2, but it was just enough. So another kill already going to the way of Talon. 2-0.
Yeah, great start for them so far. Again, this should still be a stable lane for Pure. That's a rather aggressive drinking buddy out from Whitemon. Great disruption to cut off. Maybe Pure looking to wait for him in. Otherwise, again, Pure still has a lot of sustain. First few levels for the Morphling, definitely not great, but once you can sustain through, should stabilize relatively well. That Vlad's build-up is still there as well for Pure if you want to kind of just hit the jungle, get some stats, and pad out, as we heard the panel talk about. Last lane, of course, here, Mike, down bot. You do have Akashi on that safe lane Mirana that we've seen quite a fair bit of popping out again in third-party tournaments, along with Ponyo on the Marcy. It's a lot of damage here, but there's also a lot coming out from Tundra. You don't have the best setup for the arrow. Dispose into arrows, not particularly amazing. The timing has to be perfect. This Mirana core, though, is rather fascinating because it's a really great buff to a lot of right-click carries with a Solar Flare, and that's something that can definitely enable this carry from the offlane for WS in this game.
That certainly can. So far, in fact, jump in from Ponyo just for a moment, but he misses the rebound, so not able to really set up onto Ramses. Of course, this bottom lane does seem like it's going to be a little bit annoying here for the side of Talon. I say that, I suppose you've got plenty of ways of dealing with the creep of Saksa thanks to the arrow of Akashi. And speaking of Saksa, he's currently being chased down by Ponyo, who's making life very hard now for the Ench, but he will be okay to back his way out. And it seems like Ramses, for the time being, obviously just wants to secure his own farm. He's not too interested in trying to force any fights.
Yeah, it's, again, really hard to look for a burst play here as well for Akashi and Ponyo. Very sustainable lane. Just Enchantress, even without the overprotective Wisps, just the level 1 Nature's Attendants, you don't really have the burst damage to get anything done. Akashi is farming up quite fine, but Ramses isn't being shoved away from this lane either, so you are getting that scaling that you'd want in terms of EXP. Try to hit maybe a level 5 or just right into a stable 6, get some room out, stabilize this lane, get Soxa to perhaps start to look at mid, if possible. If he does get a good creep for himself, his camps are open. So we'll see if that's something that lines up to kind of try to snowball out from Thompson. I feel like that's something the panel was touching on. It feels like both farm mids have to kind of make some plays. Maybe less pressure on Tundra with Ramses on something that can play make on Mars, but certainly for someone like Mikado, if you slow this guy's game down on Ricky with a rotation out from Soxa, that's where things can kind of go wonky. Like, you've got a Moran that needs to farm, you've got a DK that's definitely going to need to farm, and a Ricky that needs tempo. One little thing going out of order here for Talon can just ruin this game for them.
As props to Makoto as well while we're speaking about him. Johnny's having a pretty decent time in that mid lane matchup, not too threatened by Thompson quite yet. In fact, he's ahead of CS just barely, so even though that Treant's being ultra annoying, it seems like Makoto has been able to just kind of abuse the Blink Strike to secure CS here in the mid lane, and really hasn't slowed down too much in terms of farmers. Top lane now, Pure. And Whitemon going to chase down WS, waveform forward. WS going to try and just tank through it, gets the Dragon Breath off, and will actually be able to back his way out as now Jokam's trying to move in. On a Pure they'll go. Whitemon taking a fair bit of damage with these Shadow Poison stacks. Now 5 completed on Whitemon, and that'll be enough. Jokam able to secure another kill.
They're just working this top lane so well. Again, the Tusk wants to be able to play forward, wants to be that frontliner to enable some aggressive plays with more fling, but in these prolonged fights, it takes so long to commit onto WS with the double bracer. This guy's sitting at 1.2k HP with a wand on top at level 4. You're not going to look for a physical kill on that DK anytime soon, and that's pretty much all you have here, especially with the drinking buddies. You don't really have the nuking damage yet from Pure to try to melt him down, so WS is going to be perfectly fine, get some regen in lane, and even though the kills are going onto Jokam, this is still important for the Shadow Demon to find. Something like a fast blink, fast Aether Lens, maybe even an Ags Rush can make all the difference in this kind of game. So you really don't mind that too much.
Thankfully for Akashi, that spear did not land from Ramses, just no tree right behind the Mirana. It will be okay, no stun lock there, but it does seem like Tundra are slowly starting to take over this bottom lane. I say that though, Akashi's still having the time of his life when it comes to the CS department, so it really does feel like all the lanes are actually quite even right now between both these sides.
And it is. I think the one big concern for Ramses is that you can't really stop from Mirana farming. Sure, you're not threatened by Marcy whatsoever. There's no aggressive plays for Ponyo to try to set up for that can line into a feasible kill, but you just can't put your body in front of Mirana and stop her from farming. She has the arrow for the siege creep, she has the arrow for the Enchantress creep. It's just not an easy time to try to maximize this lane from Tundra. They are blocking off Ponyo from trying to snipe away the Wisdom Rune. You are still getting movement across from Mikado, though.
Oh, it's cheeky. Mikado, he's going to try for it, but no, Sux has got it. Fast fingers here from the Ench. Meanwhile, bottom lane, of course, Jokam was able to secure his own Wisdom Rune, so no double Wisdom Rune here for Talon. Top lane, though, WS now being chased down, and Thompson does TP in. This should be enough damage here for WS, and they do get it. Very nice rotation from Thompson. First one of the game, but it certainly already pays off.
Yeah, that's what we need to see here from the NP. Connections into any of the lanes to find a kill, relieve some of this pressure coming out on Pure, and finally get that payoff on killing off WS as well. Slowing down the tempo of that DK into his level 6. You've got the EXP advantage for Pure. He's going to have his 6 faster. You're stalled out from WS and you're just sitting, camping a lane, getting some free siege for yourself. That does leave Ramses alone here, though. Good spear.
He'll be just fine. Sux is actually just taking over the mid lane now, as Thompson obviously made that rotation earlier, so just wants to get that bit of XP for his Ench. Makoto, he hasn't really moved too much. The Riki is still just casually farming that mid lane. More than happily now looking for a shield rune as well, but it looks like it probably does get denied, and it does. For a guy that hasn't played Pro Dota for a year, Jonathan Sux still seems to be on top of the game.
And he is. Micro's still on point. Again, bot lane not really the most aggressive, but he was managing to get that spacing for Ramses to still soak up safely. A little bit of a chase on Whitemon.
See if they can find an easy pick-off. I say easy. Whitemon Gonna be alright, just casually walks away, and Makoto doesn't really see the opening he was looking for. No real great lockdown to try and follow up with. And in the meantime, of course, Topson just continuously just leaving the lane, just going into the jungle, just keeping that farm going. And it's kind of the scary thing against this Prophet, right? You just never know when he's going to show up in a lane and just take you down. He's just going to go quiet for now. Tundra, I think, more than happy with the way this game one's going so far.
Certainly so. You're still getting that farm up for Pure and Topson. And both of their lanes went relatively well. It was really only the support suffering up top here on the side of Tundra. You've got this great starting point, especially as you approach the Maelstrom into probably the Gleipnir here for Topson. Get some control, get that jump in. You're getting your EXP lined up as well. Even Whitemon's about to hit level 6 at this point, soaking quite nicely on mid. We haven't really seen that much movement out from Mikado. And that's one thing to be a little bit concerned about as well for Ricky. He is working onto the defusal. At that point, the rotation should be simpler. Up top, though,
I'm going to try and make a move in here. Ponyo and Akashi trying to go onto Whitemon. Whitemon with the snowball. Going to be able to just go towards the right and does survive a little bit longer as now Pure's going to jump in. But a nice arena from Ramsey showing up the last second. Still, they will lose Pure. Akashi, though, may go down as a follow-up, though. Here comes Makoto now, trying to help out. Topson's the target. Akashi's still running. He's actually all right. He's out of there. Jocam setting up a disruption. The arrow to follow up, and they've got another. Oh, Talon. 4-for-1 trade. That is a very nice deal if you are a Talon fan.
Yeah, great movement across the gate there from Akashi. And they finally get their own punishment going. They find Topson and Pure. The arena looks super clean from Ramses. Just not enough damage coming in there to really take care of things with that aggressive jump forward, breaking the position up of Tundra first. Great read out from Ponyo and Akashi in that flank. And you're seeing the effect of that solar flare even without items. The right-click damage starts to hurt. You're pumping out a lot of DPS just with a solar flare alone. You don't need that much items to play around as long as that spell is up here for Talon. And already putting themselves in a good position. 72, less than 1k lead. You are still keeping up with Topson and Pure. Again, they have had spectacular lanes outside of those stats. But you are finding that tempo for Talon early on. They still have these massive stacks built up by Jocam as well. Because of all the action keeping them tied in up top, Whitemon's not being able to really scout around, although he is going for a flank play here down bot.
They are trying. It seems like the movement's been read here by Talon, though. They do retreat immediately, realizing there's just too many heroes missing off the map. I believe Pure has actually left the tier 1 token on the floor there, so just towards the south of that tier 1 bottom tower. They'll jump in. They have found Saksa first, so they will burst down him. Ponyo to secure the kill. Now the fight continues with the arena being dropped down. They'll follow up onto Ponyo. A 1-for-1. Make that a 2-for-1, in fact, the way of Tundra. They do also pick up Jocam, now onto WS, but he's a tanky boy. They're going to give it a crack. WS just manning up. Here comes Makoto with the smoke screen, trying to set up on Topson. Topson in trouble. They take him down. The Prophet is no longer. Ramses, though, chasing down Makoto, gets the follow-up kill onto the Ricky. Is now Pure, still going onto Ponyo, trying to find more. He might just have him. The spear from a mile away from Ramses locks down Ponyo. Onto Akashi they'll go, but he's gone too far. Pure wants to get the hell out of there. And in fact, they'll stick around for the bottom tier 1 tower. But that team fight, it looks like it goes in favor of the side of Tundra, especially considering we had the buyback from Ponyo. In fact, WS, not out of the woods yet either. The chase is on. Pure, he'll find him. Dragon Form will wear off. The Sprout will block his way, and WS just not looking very tanky when you are getting taken down by 4 heroes. So Tundra able to secure even more as now Makoto shows back up down to this bottom lane. There is a sentry, but he's out of range for now. He'll jump in. He'll try for Ramsey. So this is a very, very scary attempt. He will blink away. Akashi helping out Makoto. He'll run out of range. They will stun him up, but he's all right. There's still Tundra. It's very clear they smell blood in the water and they want more. Though Pure looking to back off. Here comes Makoto. Jumps in with the silence. The arrow, though, not landing. The tag team from Whitemon. Oh my, the drinking buddies. He dragged him out of the range of the arrow.
He does. And a lot of things going wrong there for Talon. The buyback on Ponyo earlier on, just not amounting to much. Pure morphing into the Ricky, getting the smoke screen on top of him. Mikado jumps in, but Ponyo's TP back in after the buyback. Just a lot of forced movement out from Talon. They want to try to play. They feel like they're strong, and they were. but that Gambit just falls flat on its face with how they positioned themselves on Tundra. Again, they split up that fight really nicely. The Arena managed to block off that re-engage from Talon early on, and then just this Morphling, if you don't manage to hold Pure down, he shifts into the Riki. You have to deal with Smokescreen as well. And you've got like 2 big melee cores that want to jump in, at the very least with the DK without Dragon Form, and the Marcy even with her Unleash, not going to enjoy that either. And the BKB's a pipe dream right now for Ponyo.
Mid lane, Whitemon has been caught. That'll be Makoto securing a kill here on the Riki. 3rd one of the game for himself. Find a nice invis rune here as Ponyo will pick that one up. And they could potentially look at Saxa, but it doesn't seem like they want to really dive tier 1 towers yet. I think that might be the thing that's really kind of intimidating Talon as well right now, is the fact that that mid tier 1 and the bottom tier 1 tower just went down so quickly to the draft of Tundra. But that is one thing you really have to worry about when you are up against an Ench, Nature's Prophet, is your towers are just going to melt, even if they're not there to do it themselves.
No, doesn't take that much time at all. I do like the itemization coming out here as well from Pure. He had, again, a fantastic lane phase. He's just doubling down with a Midas. Already has a Dragonlance. Going for the Hurricane Pike, just needing some distance, some way to jump out of Smokescreen. Once you take care of that, you don't have too much to be scared of here on Pure, unless you get a good jump here from WS. He did have the Blink queued up earlier, did opt for the Armlet first to try to scale up. So again, trying to play more of a carry role from the off lane here, and just get some damage, get some quick farm going, clear out those camps. Tundra, for their part, starting to clump around this focal point on Pure. Has the stats to just front line, has a lot of spare agi to shift into, strength. It's not the easiest to burst, especially since you didn't go for Frost Dragon whatsoever. Get a catch on Ponyo.
A nice easy pick off here for the boys of Tundra. Ramses will go ahead and secure his 5th kill of the game now. That's one of the things, again, if you are just a lowly support, you are going to get caught very, very easily. Cheeky little scan out from Tundra as well. Does scan out Akashi on the Mirana. He is just continuously running south to the safer parts of that jungle. And you do have Pure and Saxa around, though chances are they probably won't be able to lock down the Mirana. Still, Talon, they have slowed down the game quite a bit, haven't they, John? They're not really grouping up and fighting at all. Seems like they're more than happy to just secure a bit more farm on their end of things. Where it really is Tundra, the ones being quite aggressive on the map.
Yeah.
In fact, here we go again. Makoto, a beautiful spear, but no, it doesn't land. Still the Arena and the Gleipnir will do the job. Makoto with the silence helping out in terms of surviving, but not as long as the disruption. It does save his life, but they do take him down. Whitemon takes care of it. They'll lose Thompson, but they'll lose Whitemon on top. In fact, now Tundra, they may have gone too far. Ramses, he'll be the one to go down. Pure will move in, trying for Akashi's life, and Akashi, he does die, but now can Pure get out? Well, the answer is yes. In fact, he's jumping in. He wants more, but he'll have to leave the area. I believe that was a 3-for-3 trade. And it was in favor of who? It looks like Talon. In fact, Saxa goes down. WS will find another.
Yeah, gets the blink out, manages to burst down that Ench. Was on very low HP anyhow. The side of Talon, I mean, outside of that movement, that fight that just happened, that was a response fight to Tundra, of course, playing aggressively, getting that jump forward. I think that...
Makoto? Oh, he's found Pure. Oh. He has found Pure. That's what you love to see if you're a Riki carry, or a Riki core rather. And Pure just a second too late to react, sadly, and he does go down.
And you have to be worried about getting focused down, of course, by the Riki. You still have to worry about Smokescreen if you're not able to scout out the Riki. They have planted a lot of wards. They're playing away from that bot area. Again, that fight worked out disastrously for Talon, so they're playing in an area they haven't touched in a while. They've got the sentry coverage for themselves. There's still a tier 1 to work through, but they've got space to get that done. And this time around, it was Tundra again in that last fight that got a little bit keen on just shoving in very deep onto that tier 2. Trying to play, not quite getting the connections out from Ramses. I think if you manage to nail that initiation onto Mikado first before he pops the smoke screen in the arena, like just that first spear connecting to a tree, you'd have a very different outcome there for Tundra. But because the smoke screen comes in, it stalls for time. It allows Jokam and everyone else to kind of TP in, get some disruption saves, and give WS this prolonged fight that the DK will enjoy, especially if he's not being focused down. And it does even out the game, 16-11. Still a 2k lead for Tundra. You're still getting that split farm out from Thompson, getting some good split push action going, of course.
Gleipnir doesn't actually clip onto Akashi. He'll be able to leap out of range. Now Akashi picking up his own Gleipnir, but it is all too late. The bottom tier 2 tower is now officially down. Pure able to secure that very easily. Again, Tundra, you know, as much as you like to look at the kill score and think maybe the side of Talon are doing pretty good, it seems like Tundra are in complete control of this game one. At least with their map movements. Here we go though. Ramses getting jumped mid lane. They'll try to burst down the Mars, but the snowball, Whitemon unable to save. So now Whitemon needs to run. They've got some help incoming, but it's not coming fast enough. So Whitemon should go down as now Saksa also being caught out by WS. It could be a third target here for the side of Talon, and they've got it. Never mind what I said, John. Map movements are one thing, but kills are another.
I mean, the map movement's to be expected from Tundra, right? You've got an NP, you should be able to work this map. You don't have the highest mobility heroes on Talon to respond. With the split push, you will find space for Thompson to take more aggressive farm, leaving conservative jungle out for Pure to find. You still have to be careful about the rest of your heroes. I do like that Tundra are clumping up this tree, like running the two supports with Ramses, trying to get these opportunities to get Thompson into play. But it doesn't feel like they're respecting this fully, although
Gleipnir spread out, but of course Ponyo is just going to be able to commit rebound and get away. And Thompson sadly really didn't have the backup to lock him down. Now a 1k net worth lead, still the way of Tundra, but it is a much closer game, it feels like. Though Pure still very, very confidently farming that bottom area of the map, and again, it does feel like Tundra much more in control of this map for game one thus far. But at the very least, Talon keeping parity when it comes to the net worth department. As bottom lane, Tundra hoping someone gets baited into farming this bottom lane, but nobody's hanging around here from Talon. Akashi, maybe, or rather Makoto, maybe realizing they were around, does back his way into the mid lane. And seems like the rest of Talon, they'll just take the torment. Why the hell not?
Get very big shard in the process as well, allowing Ponyo to find some better angles in without having to rely too much on his allies. I do like the Talons just avoiding this bot lane. Again, this area's been in Tundra's control since the tier 1 tower fell. They're just dodging it. They've got their own vision set up towards their triangle up to top. And that is where they're putting all their attention. Mid is the battleground where Tundra has been trying to force things out because they're not finding anything down bot. Again, Talon, they have taken a little bit more of a conservative approach. If the fight's by a tower, that's when they'll show up. If not, I think you just cut the losses there and go back. Still, Tundra having all of this room on the map, does have rush access. They do have the damage coming in with Pure and with the drinking buddies on top, and Thompson coming in. Doesn't take too long for Rush to go, but Talon are smoking up. Doesn't feel like they'll make it in time though, perhaps.
They might just barely. Already half HP of Roshan gone. Talon, they are getting there, but it almost looks like it's in slow motion. Roshan still going down. We'll see if Talon want to force a fight with Roshan going the way of Tundra. They're thinking about it. They've set up at the bottom lane. They'll take the high ground of the Twin Gates. They are waiting for a moment to pounce in. Though Saksa brings his creep through the Twin Gates now. Still, they do remain smoked up.
Yes.
In goes WS. He's going to start the fight, but he's just getting melted down. Already most of his HP gone. They'll save him disruption for now, but for how long? WS is gone. So is Ponyo. Joe Cam being left behind, probably set to fall. And Tundra, I mean, if Roshan wasn't enough, now they've got 3 kills to add on to that.
And that's a massive kill in WS. I get that his smoke breaks under the creep vision, so he does want to jump forward, but he doesn't preemptively BKB. He doesn't respect that tree line as much as he should have with how Tundra were grouped up and what the scans were revealing for them. Now Makoto all alone here.
Oh, being caught out. Thompson with a very nice teleport in, just cutting him right off. Oh, that's a big one. Makoto going down as well, just slowing down the pacing of the Riki and the whole draft of Talon, really. Just feels like it's being slowed down to a complete stop here by Tundra. As Tundra now looking for that mid tier 2 tower, obviously going to have absolutely zero issues taking it out. And they're going to try for high ground on top. Knowing Makoto is down for 30, why the hell not? They'll give it a crack.
Look at how much damage Thompson has, right, from that Spirit of the Forest. Had about plus 78, maybe almost plus 100 there, just from being around so many trees. It's kind of crazy how much Thompson can bring out when he just TPs in a very treed up area. Rack's not going to last long, still have that security of the Aegis, maybe catch more.
Well, there's your BKB from WS, this time around being popped right before the spear does land from Ramses, but it's all too late anyway. Like, Tundra got exactly what they came for. They've got the mid-racks, They can go back to the farm game, go back to controlling the map. And if you're Talon, like, I think your only play really is to start smoking up and trying to find some pickoffs and regain map control here. But with a 7k deficit, it does start to feel very challenging.
And it does. You've got 2 Hurricane Pikes now as well on the side of Tundra. So Mikado can't get that control for the team with a smoke screen, as they have been finding success with that movement from the Riki. You're going to have to rely more on probably just Dragon Tail and Rebound if you can find that angle for Ponyo. Easier said than done. Onto the tier 2 up top. Tundra starting to set up. Talon hugging bot lane, trying to farm together. Their options are growing slim. Side of Tundra. Again, just finding that great punishment in the Roche fight. That's where it all fell apart. I think before that it was relatively even. You know, Tundra still had momentum going their way, but it was still somewhat playable for Talon before that point. Just that mistake from WS to blink forward.
They can't get caught here, John. There's not really any buybacks apart from Joe Camp. WS, he's going to jump in. They'll try to burst down the Mars, and they've got him. Ramses is gone to start. They've even found the Aegis of Pure. Is this the team fight they needed? They're going to give it a crack. The snowball is out onto Ponyo, buying a bit more time, but Pure is gone. So is Thompson. So is Whitemon. And now Sucks on top. It's a full team wipe. Well, what the hell happened?
The damage output's just ridiculous. They had Solar Flare this time around. WS didn't have the BKB. It looked awkward as heck for him to jump in. But they connect all their spells. They get the isolation. We don't see the arena come out from Ramses. And that was pretty much a sequence of pickoffs like you were talking about, right? You were saying in a big team fight, it's not working out for Talon. They split up these heroes very close to each other, but managed to get the chain stun and burst one by one. Like, look at that isolation. Pure's all the way to the left. Everyone else is on the right side. They burst down Ramses before that. And it's just insane how coordinated Talon was to get that working. They find a lot. It brings them back in the game.
That really was quite coordinated. You can see Makoto and Akashi especially, just always the same target they aim for. There's just ridiculous amounts of damage here between the Mirana and Riki if you are able to isolate a target in the middle of a fight. And well, they certainly did that very well that time around. Now bringing the game back to a less than 1k advantage, the way of Tundra Esports, and dragging the win probability right back their way. Still not in favor of Talon, but I mean, it's certainly a much closer game. And now Pure, this could be a huge pickoff if they can get him, and they do.
God.
Oh boy, I mean, they just waited. They waited a long time for that one. The trap was laid, but the patience was what made it. Because now it seems like the side of Talon, they want more. They'll smell blood in the water. They'll see Saxa and Whitemon. WS doesn't have the vision. So Saxa will be able to get onto the high ground and get the hell away from that Dragon Knight. But Talon, it's showing, Jonathan, they are not going to be steamrolled here today.
They're not. They've got to answer back for this push. And you still got Thompson shoving in. You've got even Ramses Illusions keeping that mid-wave fully inside their base. Talon doesn't have that much room to play around. I will say one thing. Pure with this build, you know, I like the Midas. I like this rush for the Hurricane Pike for his stat gain and just having that option to jump out of smoke screen. Not having a Linken's or a BKB is hurting him here, though. Like, it does feel like the Manta alone is not going to be enough. There is a lot of first jump potential here for Talon to connect outside of just a smoke screen. If they land a rebound, if they land disruption into arrow, things can go very quickly for this Morphling at full agi. You have to watch yourself.
Thompson's TP'd in. He's trying to force the fight, but he does get the force stuff onto the low ground as now Ramsey's trying to force a fight onto the Shadow Demon. Whitemon will jump in. Jokam getting low, and he's finally gone as they will also find Ponyo. And now Akashi, that's the big target. If they can secure, but Makoto from the backside, he picks off Pure. Makoto, he'll keep going here with WS. They'll try with a 3v2 situation. Jokam, he's brought back, but they've already lost Makoto. This is not the fight to buy back in now. WS, though, still finding Thompson. Still managing to find another kill as Jokam. He will die back once again on the Shadow Demon. And that is definitely a team fight win for the side of Tundra, but not as one-sided as I would have anticipated.
No, I mean, they get the proper initiation from Tundra this time around, isolating those really pesky supports, taking away the save option of Jokam with that disruption, taking away the re-engage potential with a Marcier. And that just kind of makes it very difficult for Talon. They were not quite in position to take that fight either. Good forward wards here from the side of Tundra to set up in that area and keep that engage going. And we'll keep Talon back. Again, despite all these good fights for Talon beforehand, before that fight on mid, it is still Tundra's game in control. Like, net worth lead was nullified to less than 1k for Tundra. Now it's back to 5k. You've still got this mid wave constantly shoving in. Talon doesn't have, again, that map mobility that Topson has to kind of try to gank globally to punish some split up or to just split push, keep that laning pressure on. So your map's just shrunk down still really hard here for Talon. Tundra going out for another smoke play. They do have the full sight of Vice on Ramses. They've got some quick hold here if they manage to get the big jump in.
A smoke on smoke situation here, Jonathan. Tundra looking to try and get into that Radiant jungle. Side of Talon, they will actually rotate into the dire triangle right now. There's Makoto and Jokam gonna spot out the side of Tundra, but Jokam will be the one left behind, of course, so he'll happily die for Makoto to be able to get away. But here comes the rest of Talon finding Topson. Oh, Topson's gone. It's a big trade here for Talon thus far. WS wanting maybe a little bit more, though. He does get force-staffed away for now. Is now the arena. Ramses, he'll find Ponyo. That'll be the secondary support down. WS in the meantime, he'll BKB TP up, but Akashi got left behind. And he leaps the wrong way on top. Oh, no. The tips immediately from Tundra. And that was all for that last leap, I believe, Jonathan.
Oh, yeah.
Leaps the wrong way.
Leaps the wrong way. Maybe was trying to, I don't know, set an arrow backwards before leaping forward. Gets the inputs cramped in a little bit too fast. Great punishment out from Tundra. Again, great scan to kind of cover that smoke. Getting to jump once more onto the saving support. It feels like if Jokam's gone, these team fights are very hard to pull off for Talon. Without that disruption save, without that stall time to maybe look for openings with your BKBs, it gets really wonky for Talon fast. It feels like this is a composition from Talon that needs that coordination, that needs all 5 heroes in play, and all Tundra needs to do is find like one big pick off on either of the supports. It just gets really hard to play for Talon. 7k lead for Tundra holding up. They've got almost a full butterfly up on Pure, so it's going to be a little bit harder to burst him down with right clicks at that point. Got the full MKB coming out here for Topson as well, just to hasten the push, and a little bit more DPS never hurts here. You have all the damage already, of course, from the Spirit Force. You might as well get just a little bit more attack speed to utilize it, and that's certainly going to help the case here for Topson, for sure. Inside of Talon, and they're getting more damage out in WS. He's going for the full Daedalus. They really need to be able to play around Jokam. Like, Jokam has to find that perfect spot to play in. He does have at least the Glimmer Cape to try to save himself, but they're carrying Dust because obviously you're playing against a Ricky. No Blink yet on our Shadow Demon as well. No Aether Lens for further reach, so it's a hard game. But again, for Talon, a lot of this hinges on Jokam, and for Tundra, they're keeping every lane in check. They have a few more seconds till Roshan. They're already setting up down bot to get that done, although the forward vision does spot everyone walking down there. So Talon should understand that Roche is going to be the next target as well, if they want to play into that once more.
It is now available. There's a smoke out from Talon. 5-man smoke directly towards the Roshan pit. Tundra, they're not going to bother smoking. They'll just run right into the pit and get started. But this time, Talon, they'll be around in time. There's no two ways about that. They've got plenty of time to try and contest this time around. They'll move in. Roshan's still going down though. Pure, he's almost got it gone. Roar is there. Ramses, he'll get spotted. They found a great target in the Mars, and they will burst him down as the Roshan's still going. They'll be able to pick up the Aegis here on Pure, but they'll leave the banner behind. So WS will go ahead and pick that one up for Pure. How do you get out of this situation? He'll mantra off the Gleipnir. Makoto chasing him down, but no, they'll go after the Ench instead. They'll take down Saksa. Can they find more? WS, he'll get jumped. Akashi focusing on Topson. Topson dropping low, but Ramses with a huge arena out. Makoto, he got hexed up. Makoto, he gets the tricks of the trades off just in the nick of time. But what's it going to do for him? He does go down. So does Ponyo. Onto the DK, they'll go. WS not looking too tanky. He will drop. And Ramses, that was a very nice buyback up from the Mars just in the nick of time to save the fight here for Tundra. With the Roshan, with the Aegis still going, they'll try for high ground.
And it's not going to take too much here from Tundra to rip these buildings to shreds, as we've seen before. Side of Talon only have the 2 buybacks. Even with buyback in WS, he doesn't have the Dragon form. You know, don't have their Steroid as well in Solar Flare. Gonna have to try to at least give up one set of racks. But Tundra, smell blood in the water, tier 4s, no problems. Forcing the buyback from WS, but what can Talon feasibly do? And they don't have these ultimates up. It just feels... It's a difficult defense to say the least. Tundra, right on top to set off their road to the International here on the right note. As Talon looked good early on, but just that wonky Roche fight. And it just starts to fall apart really fast with this kind of draft.
Two wonky Roche fights this time around. Well, here we go. I mean, Tundra looking for that final lane of barracks, slowly starting to head up top. You did get that Roshan banner, but that's not going to do you too much good here if you are the side of Talon. Not right now, it won't anyway. But Tundra, though, still just kind of sitting back and relaxing. They are just buying Pure some more time to get some more farm going before they do get onto that high ground. No real rush here for Tundra. They understand they are in complete control, and it seems like they're going to just wait out the MKBs before they really try for that final lane of barracks. Just no need to risk this game one. And if you're Talon, I mean, you are the guys that need to find a way back into this game, but right now they are just stuck on their high ground. They're just not feeling safe to venture out.
You just have so many ways of keeping these waves freely shoved in from Tundra. Again, with an NP, with a wave clearing you have, and a Morphling, even a Mars can clear out these waves and just keep it shoved consistently. You don't have a lot of room. There goes one weak MKB up for Pure. He's going to have, again, a little bit more damage to play with. Not going to have to care about smokescreen too much here as well. Move out the BKB. And just hit away for free. You take a free toward Mentor now for Whitemon to have. A little bit more utility with the Ice Shards going further now as well, further deep, at least in blocking off some pattern here. I'm not sure how Talon takes care of 2 lives on Pure. Again, if they get that perfect angle, if they get their own MKB up on Akashi, perhaps piercing through that evasion chance in the Butterfly with the right-click speed you have with Solar Flare-Up, you will need to isolate again. And that's where we need to see Talon kind of play together. It's just hard to see Tundra breaking apart at this point. You know, they're so far ahead. 2 lives is a huge allowance, but hey, Talon did it before when they were shoving in the mid. Maybe they can do it again.
Well, regardless, I mean, what a game we've had so far, John. 31-27, 35.5 minutes into this game. We shall see very soon if Talon can indeed do it again, because it seems like Tundra, they're ready to try and approach that high ground. They'll smoke up as 4. Topson will meet him with the teleport. Oh, they see Makoto. TP away, he's going to be alright. They can't reach. I mean, Makoto, he did have buyback to be fair, but you'd much rather not have to commit it in that fashion.
Yeah. You can't afford to die outside base right now. At least try to take this high ground fight, buy back for a prolonged fight, and see if it works out. And Tundra, all they have to do is just play together as a team, get a good arena out from Ramses if you can.
They won't rush it. They'll wait for the creep wave to come in. In fact, Topson's just TPing across the map, farming in another location. But he'll have a backup in about 15 seconds, so no problem. But again, it doesn't really seem like Tundra are going to try and force it. They've only got 30 seconds left on the Aegis on top for Pure, so it might be one of those situations where you just kind of accept the fact that you control the whole map anyway, and you may as well just make that net worth lead get a hell of a lot bigger, though it is already sitting at around 20k. But when you control the whole map, you may as well take all the fun.
Yep.
Maybe wait out the next Roshan.
Yeah, just playing secure here. Pure trying to work onto that BKB now. So there's really not going to be that much threat onto this Morphling. As long as he can pop the BKB quick enough before the Dragon Tail stun kicks in, you should have really no problem surviving through. And that's where this will go close to 0 now for Talon at that point, once that's up. If they can maybe isolate Pure while he's farming that, sure. But again, there's no outer reach here for Talon whatsoever. You're still waiting for that MKB on Akashi. He did divert for the Crystallis early on. Don't think he wants to go for the full Daedalus just yet. Does need that Pierce first. You've got the refresh up on Ramses. Double Hex ready to go. Double Arena, double Spear, and double BKB. And Talon, they don't have any of those kinds of options. Again, they still shine in pickoffs, but you can't get pickoffs if you don't manage to get outside your base. Have the BKB up on Mikoto. So at least the Ricky's a little bit more protected up front. They have to be very quick with that. Again, the sight of Vice on Ramses has been causing a ton of issues here. But I'm not seeing easy answers for Talon still. Now, like, there is a path back. It is more reliant on Tundra maybe playing a little bit more recklessly, going in one by one, and or even just fragmented as we saw in the high ground fight. And, you know, Tundra is just not giving those opportunities back. There's that BKB for Pure. Safety net for the Morphling up and ready. And nothing to really be concerned about. Maybe you just wait out until next Roshan. A minute 40 until we see that next timer here, but it's not like Talon can really contest or do anything. They'll try with a smoke out here.
They're gonna give it a crack. The Tormentor does go the way of the Dire, of course. Pure will be able to pick up his own shards now. BKB now officially up on Pure. So life becomes infinitely harder now with that BKB available. And Tundra, they're grouping up again. Into the Radiant jungle they'll go. Akashi going to be spotted by White One in just a moment. Shards out, but of course Akashi can just leap away and will do so. Tundra so desperate to try and find a quick pick-off before they do approach that high ground, but seems like they might just have to do it the old-fashioned way. Makoto hanging around that bottom lane, but they don't really have the detection around this area. But now they do. But they won't make the jump on Makoto. He's fine. They'll see Joe Cam. Ramsey's jumping in, misses the arena though. Gleipnir will lock him down. Arrow will land as well. The drinking buddy's just not quick enough, but it doesn't matter. Though with the arena down, Talon, they might want to go, and they do certainly look like they want to try and pursue here. WS ready to blink in, does commit. He gets the stun off onto the task. Wyamon trying to be bursted down. In comes Makoto, but they're lacking quite a bit of damage without Akashi. Ponyo, he'll try as well, but Pure, he's just manning up through it. He couldn't give a crap. Makoto being chased down. They really can't afford to lose this Ricky. Silenced him up, more stuff away. Makoto, he might jump back in with the tricks of the trade, and Wyamon will go down. Meanwhile, though, Jocam and Ponyo both dropping. Is now Pure dropping low, but so does Makoto. He'll go down on a WS. He'll BKB TP out, and he will make it. Meanwhile, Akashi's still getting tipped throughout all of this, as now they've got Makoto down with that buyback, and it seems like Tundra can officially go for the jugular.
WS?
Onto the DK. WS is gone. Pure in trouble. Does go down. Pure is off the map now as Ponyo. He will die for this. It's a 2v4 scenario as Wymon's going to buy back. It's Akashi and Jocam versus the world. Can you deal with Thompson? That's the big target. Ramsey's disrupted. Although you have lost Jocam, still Akashi, he will try to take down the Mars, but the Hex is out. He's got no damage incoming, as now they'll focus down the Ancient, and GG is called. Game 1 will go the way of Tundra Esports. And it was quite back and forth, Jonathan, but it did always feel like Tundra just had their number here in Game 1.
Even they pick up the scatter shot. Sniper, you and I were having conversations about scatter shot before. You told me, John, it's trash. John, please don't stop suggesting that, John. Here it comes, you know?
Are you happy?
I am happy.
You happy you got that out, Jonathan? You're satisfied?
I am very satisfied.
It only took you like a year for this to be good. It only took about
Hey, 6 months or so, okay? Give me some credit. 6 months, 6 months.
You're a fortune teller, Jonathan. You're a good man. I can see it. You got that psychic ability. Here we go. First blood maybe to happen here, as we could have a fight. Smoke around from Whitemon. He might just find Ponyo here with his pants down, and Ponyo gets sharded up, and it looks like he is just as good as dead. He'll try for the run. The Fairy Fire out. The slowdown is there from the blood grenade. They are still trying for Ponyo, and they do find him. Pure. He'll be the one to secure first blood on the Luna. Probably the best start you could have asked for here for Tundra.
Is Kashi?
Also caught. Ramsey's with another unstable concoction. They'll remove half the HP of Akashi to start off this laning stage, and oh boy, Tundra with the aggression already.
And that's what we need to see coming out here for Tundra. All their lanes are set up for nice, easy aggression. Maybe except the mid. You've got Mikado on the DK up against Thompson on the NP once more. This is, again, a very relatively stable lane. You're going to be farming here on Mikado. You're going to be farming Thompson. Neither side's really going to care too much. You at least have that extra piece of play for Thompson if he does manage to get the teleportation out early on. So that is something to look out for. A good voice line out from Pure. I was wondering where those voice lines were. It's been very quiet in Game 1. Good to see they're still popping out.
Don't get confident, Jonathan. No one's playing your voice lines. Nobody.
Yeah.
All right? Don't. I know what you want. I know you're trying to sell, Jonathan. It's not happening. We're at TI, goddammit. Get it together.
I talked to Whitemon. He says we're not friends. I talked to Akashi. They say that we're not friends. You know, what can you do, Mike? What can you do? I'm not friends with him. Yeah. Still, we're friends with this game. As we're taking a look at the top lane now with Pure on that Luna. Guess we are. It's a love-hate relationship sometimes. Whitemon on the... What was I even saying? Whitemon and Tusk. You've got WS on the Mars and Jocam on the Phoenix. This is also relatively stable. I mean, you have some decent play potential. Luna's not the furthest range hero, so Mars can certainly play. This is a WS special, which is rather interesting they allow it through this time around. We've seen WS, even when Mars looked pretty atrocious in some patches, even from his time in Boom, WS makes the hero look damn good. Almost like what FBZ used to do in Boom as well. Except it has felt...
Shard was there, but the follow-up was not. No curse, Jonathan. Well done. You've done it. Because bottom lane, Akashi and Ponyo, they'll be up against Sarks and Ramses. It seems like already a very good laning stage for Ramses, as he has secured 10 CS. Because Ponyo will try to force him out of the Ench, but he had to go level 1 Nature's Attendance. Now he has the Enchant up, so he can do a little bit more. But this laning stage, down this bottom lane for Tundra, does seem very strong. Like, maybe now the Harpy Stormcrafter could be a little bit annoying for Tundra, but with Saksa and Ramses on an Alk Sniper, it could be a very hard lane here for Talon.
Yeah, it's not going to be nice and simple. I mean, Akashi can always try to wind run away when they do fully commit with a stun, but you're not dodging out the shrapnel damage. This scatter shot facet is just... it's a lot of damage, you know? And I love seeing it come into play here at TI, the road to the International, finally seeing this in play. It just allows you to really zone out these heroes quite hard. It's giving this melee matchup up against dual range a lot of play for Ramses, no care in the world. He knows the sniper can always cover up top, getting a little bit aggressive here.
Jocam almost goes down, but they didn't quite have enough damage. Wyman dropping quite low himself. Meanwhile, bottom lane, looks like there was a bit of a chase onto Ponyo, but they won't quite be able to secure her, as now Saksa in danger, and Saksa, he'll be the one to go down as Akashi picks up his first kill on the win range. It's a classic Ench bait, right? You chase the Enchantress expecting an easy kill, and you end up giving one away instead.
That's a nice little boon for Akashi. Again, in not really a slower lane, but a lane where he's not really finding as much, say, aggressive play. The Ench can't really zone in and out too hard. You isolate that sniper, it can still be easy pickings. They will take care of Jocam up top. So what if the safe lane's having a pretty decent time here in finding these pickoffs on the supports? Not as much as you'd want to get out here from Ramses and WS, but Pure and Akashi off to a decent enough start, at the very least, to set that tempo here. Really curious to see how much more Thompson can get done. This lane on mid has been a lot slower for him in comparison to last game. 13-5 on the NP compared to 23-8. Ponyo?
Does go down. They will get a bit of revenge here onto Ponyo. Akashi unable to help out as he was stunned up by Ramses. You were saying, though, that the mid lane does certainly seem a hell of a lot slower here for Thompson this time around, but in fairness, he is up against DK, which is kind of the king of just slowing down your CS's top lane. WS in danger. Chase is on and Pure does secure. Now they'll go for Jocam as well. Jocam will have to walk the old-fashioned way, but Pure and Wyman both just slowly chasing him down. Eventually we'll find him. Pure has to be a little bit careful though, and he does actually die, but he secures the double kill before he does. So I suppose you could probably just call that worth for the loot.
That's not too bad. You don't give the EXP away to Jocam. As a Phoenix, you really want to rush into that 6 or even just your level 5. And you don't get that free EXP. Taking that tick last, unfortunately, there. Getting a bit of a free chase onto Ponyo as well, who's trying to scout out these camps, but not going to be able to get that full committal onto the Ench. Still, 2-5 start Tundra this time coming out of the laning phase in pretty strong fashion.
I was oohing there, John, because Ponyo did accidentally throw a blood grenade instead of dropping an ult, I do believe. Will be just fine, though. It does happen. We all misclick once in a while. Ponyo being chased down for a little bit by Sarks and Ramses. In fact, the unstable concoction is going to be channeled. Can they get within range? Ramses? Oh, he was almost there. He was like a centimeter away. Just not quite. Though now Sarks are being chased down here by Ponyo. He'll try for the TP play out, and he will not make it. Ponyo is able to secure, but now Akashi even chasing down Ramses, but
Thompson
doesn't really have the damage. Meanwhile, mid lane. Chase for Thompson. He's going to be just fine.
Yeah. Did force out Whitemon to make that way onto mid as well to secure the rune. And he is forced to take the amp damage rune himself. So Thompson not going to be able to get too much out. We'll at least get the TP reset with the teleportation back in. We haven't seen that much side lane movement this time around. Probably not to be expected until you get a little bit more. Doesn't feel like the side lanes have opened up. I was expecting maybe some movements down bot. Play with a shrapnel there. Still focusing onto that mid, but you've got Ponyo to help support this push. And Mikado is getting a steady shove in onto the tier 2 here. And at the very least, not contested by Tundra all too hard on that front.
Apologies about that, John. Mid lane. Looks like there is a fight breaking out right now. Ponyo could be in a bit of danger. Snowball will land, and Ponyo still alive for now. The Sprout will be there. They'll lock him down a little bit longer as Whitemon going for a run, keeping the vision up. The heals are too much, though. Pure gonna move in with the Eclipse now, but he's lost vision. No, he hasn't. He'll find him. It's all right. He'll secure the kill. All worth.
Very worthwhile. I mean, you're probably not looking for a wider team fight here for Pure early on, so you might as well get pick off when that clips, get back to farm. They isolate Akashi out here as well.
They certainly have Akashi. He's a big target, and they've got him. Ramses and Sarks are able to get the job done. The wind run was on cooldown, and that's just going to make life even easier for Ramses now, who has a completely free lane, already top of the net worth board on the Alchemist, and it does certainly start to feel like this is going to be a pretty strong off-lane Alchemist game.
And it is. Getting that ramp up into more than likely just a standard Radiance build-up. The miss chance is going to hurt the Wind Ranger even more. I'm a little bit surprised Akashi even tried to move a little bit forward with the Whirlwind. He didn't have his Javelin up at that point. There's no real output here for the Wind Ranger to threaten until at least the Javelin timing. And a little bit optimistic to try to look for the cleanup while all of that attention was dragged onto mid, even in a 1v1. I have to see if they can maybe get some movement across the gate. They will get Akashi and Ponyo for the same movement up top once more. This time around, though, Tundra is not camping around to be jumped. They are playing it safer, understanding what Talon's done in the last game.
Oh, you say safe. They're looking at that mid-tier 1 tower instead here. Pure getting vision on Makoto. Shards will block the staircase, but Whitemon can't quite lock him down long enough. In fact, WS is here now, looking for the Tusk. They've still got help around here from Tundra, but they may just allow Whitemon to die, as they are unwilling to risk the rest of their lives. So Whitemon will be the sacrifice, but in the meantime, they got the mid-tier 1 tower. The double-graded treants, it's just so much damage. Top lane, Pure. He will end up dying, though. Akashi able to secure a kill for himself, so a pretty nice one there, along with the tier 1 tower. But again, though, Tundra, they did find the tier 1 mid.
Yeah, and they can start to, again, play around that laning pressure we saw in the last game. Thompson still needing that full Maelstrom into the Gleipnir to have a little bit more presence, but can already just start to spam these treants around, keep every lane shoved in, maybe even threaten down bot at some point. Mid is still being chipped away by Mikado, though, and the TPs are in to stop it. The Ench army is here. That'll get the job done.
Shards on Ponyo. That'll lock him down. Here come the drinking buddies as well, so Thompson can get right to work, and of course Ponyo will just drop very quickly. Nice pick up here from Tundra. Probably not so happy that they lost their mid-tier 1 tower, but there's not really much they could have done about it, in fairness. They will at least secure something for their trouble, as they are also going to pop a smoke here with Whitemon and Sarksa. Heading down towards the south, they'll see if they can find Akashi down at that bottom lane. And Akashi is still hanging around. Power shot going right through Ramses. The raindrops actually saves the life of Ramses on top. Unstable concoction being channeled. Akashi, wind running at the right moment, will be able to survive though. Here comes Thompson looking for some vision. Unable to find it though.
Nice little readout from Akashi. Full commitment out from Tundra. We'll at least find that tier 1 bot in exchange. Their pushing power again, with a Luna on hand, with an NP, is pretty damn strong. Just a lot of just right-click damage to each of these early objectives. Get that done with no contest, instantly TPing back into their mid and top to get that farm flowing. Talon, not at the point where they feel the comfiest in team fights. They do have Arena ready. Egg not quite there yet from Jokam, but you don't have easy initiation angles yet. You still need that blink up on WS. You have got an initial item coming out here for Mikado. That is his blink ready to go. So you could maybe play off of this DK. See if they will want to play more aggressive. I mean, you rush blink on DK, you're not going to be farming around, even with Fire Dragon form. So you will want to get a kill, and there's that smoke. A kill onto Pure would be massive. This Luna has not had the best of time post-laning phase. And even the laning phase was a little bit slower for Pure in terms of net worth here.
Still pumping around, smoke is still up, they're still running towards the north. Dragon form popped. Pure, it was underneath vision for a moment, and they will jump in with the stun. Arena down to boot, the spear will land very nicely, and Pure, well, he's trying to fight through it, but there's just no helping coming. He's actually a pretty tanky carry, but it is not going to be enough. Talon able to secure a very important kill.
Again, this Luna has been sacrificed a little bit. Laning phase, yeah, they maybe find that kill on Jokam, but overall WS still gets control on the Mars. Not the furthest range matchup for the Mars to feel uncomfy in. He is sacrificing a lot of his farm for Ramses and Thompson to scale up as well. So this Luna's impact's not going to be felt for a little bit longer, and Talon's just poking at that wound. This is still giving that space they're looking for in Tundra, though. Again, Ramses just lacking the Sacred Relic, already has the gold for that full Radiance. Already up and running. Farming pace is going to kick in. The mischance could save him from these two physical cores they have here as they jump Jokam.
Getting up again. Thompson finding Jokam underneath some of the wards. Shards are going to land, of course, from Whitemon. That will force out the egg, though. Now, do they have enough for the egg? Thompson, he gets caught out. The power shot, it's going to get the job done. In fact, Ponyo, he'll also follow. They'll try for a run, but now Whitemon's also been caught. Whitemon will drop. They found a shackle on Saksa. That'll be a fourth target. Can they find the fifth? It is Pure, and they know he's there. They just need the blink up, and they've got it. Makoto will land the stun. Pure trying to just run underneath that tier 2 tower. Here comes Ramses to help out, but Pure is certainly going to fall as Ramses now, feeling charitable, will hand one more over here to Talon. My goodness, what a team fight to come out. And that should have been a really easy pickoff onto Jokam, but that egg last second. And the decision from Thompson to turn around to try and burst it down, it just cost them so much. Now Akashi, bottom lane, focus fire popped. Thompson, he's going to go for the fight. Akashi pretty confident here with the power shot out, though the wind run not lasting long enough. And Thompson will just man up and secure the kill, but now Makoto's here. Makoto will trade, but it's still a very good trade for Thompson.
Yeah, not too bad. Get that big kill on the Wind Ranger, slow down that tempo as it's coming through, stall out that timing for the Gleipnir here. I think we're also starting to see some of these shortcomings here for Tundra in this sniper pickup. Saksa, yes, his damage is great with shrapnel in the laning phase, and the panel touched on this. The damage is insane. It doesn't feel like they managed to get as much as they'd want from that lane with Ramses in terms of slowing down Akashi. And now when the sniper's caught out, it's just dead. He has the Pavis to try to save himself. No shard just yet. That could be another tool, maybe a 4-staff rush. But the damage output's not feeling amazing with a shrapnel. And we saw Mikado just stand under a full shrapnel, no issues. So they're starting to lose a little bit of that luster here, although Ponyo
trying to get the D wards off, but does end up sacrificing his life. Not really expecting Whitemon and Pure to be right around the corner. They still have the vision there. It has not been dewarded or denied by Tundra, so I suppose you can always go back for it. Pure's going to run into WS here top lane. WS actually trying to go for the fight. Does have a Yule Scepter up, but drops the arena first. Pure happily just standing his ground for now. WS will eventually throw a spear out, but it doesn't really stun him up. So they have the DK. Now the egg dropped on top. Still the Luna is perfectly fine as Whitemon is just trying to Giga Chat it up. Pure though in danger once again, does finally go down as now Whitemon trying to back off, but here comes the cavalry. Saksa though and Whitemon both burning to Jokam. They're both down. Now Thompson dropping low. Thompson is gone. Ramses on top trying to run away, but it's gonna be another team wipe for Talon. Oh my. I'll tell you what, John, game 2, the boys woke up. They're here now.
That they are. I mean, we saw this kind of pacing from Talon in game 1 as well. They're mid-game. They're finding some openings. They're finding some isolation play. This time around for Tundra, I think their big issue with this kind of draft is their team fight is not there, right? Like, they last picked this Ramses offlane Alchemist. They don't really have a way of controlling people beyond like a Gleipnir pickup on Thompson, which he does have. Beyond that, I mean, it doesn't even boil down to like teamfight control there, but they just lack control in general. You're reliant on Sprout, you're reliant on isolation with shards and Snowball, and that's really it for your control. You have really good damage if you can hold people in shrapnel, but you don't have a stable way of getting that done. You don't have a great egg clearer either, because the Luna is very close range. Again, even with the Dragonlance, doesn't stand the furthest way back to be safe. And it just puts you at massive risk. Talon, 17-12, 4K up, looking good at 16 minutes into the game. Starting to hit that tempo spike early on.
Oh, this ward's doing a lot of work here, John. Thompson being spotted out by WS. Will go for the fight. He's stuck in the arena anyway, so he's got really no choice in the matter. And Thompson, he will drop once again. And that Observer ward, just towards the north of that tier 2 top tower. It's doing some great work here for Talon.
And it is. Not the most obvious spot either, and they've not been able to send their supports over after that fight up top earlier. We saw how fast the backline melts as well, and how much poke damage the side of Talon has, and they're going to be able to find us tier 2. First tier 2 of the game, going their way. Up against an NP, that's a pretty big loss for Tundra. You'd expect a little bit more from Thompson to try to, again, just split push, but he's been looking for these fights. He's been angling in, as we've seen in game 1. This time around, not panning out the same way. I think Talon's done a great job in correcting their draft. This draft, it does feel a lot more playable as well. You hit some spikes now. Akashi does have the Gleipnir.
He's going to land on Ramses, but he'll be able to just kind of dispel that off and run. The Whitemon was there with the drinking buddies just in case anyway. It seems to Talon they still want to try and force a fight once again. They are heading towards the side of Tundra, down to that bottom right corner of the map. Ponyo trying to scout out with this Hellbear Smasher. We'll see Thompson very soon. Ponyo happy to just tank for the team. It seems as though Talon have made the decision to just retreat. The Tundra in a very defensive position, not giving away any openings here to Talon. And they're going to go for a smoker. Saksa and Whitemon, they'll be the ones to try and rotate into that Radiant jungle once again. Invis picked up by Whitemon will make that a little bit easier, but Joe Camp will just Icarus dive away. Looks like they have found out Ramses. Arena and Spear will land onto the Alchemist, and Ramses, he does not have his ulti available for another 2 seconds. Still waiting it out. He'll land a very nice stun, and now the turnaround. Ramses, he'll survive. It's now WS in trouble. Joe Cam running to boot. Meanwhile, Akashi. Oh, Akashi! Look at the damage. He's finally down. Ramses, it's him against the world, and he just ends up just destroying himself. It was looking so good for Tundra, but Akashi comes in. It just, the arrows were everywhere, John. Everyone copped it.
A whirlwind, man. That damage is just insane, especially with the Gleipnir fully up. The procs everywhere. You've got the isolation. You get a really good front line as well here for Talon to play with WS just taking these aggressive plays that he loves to do on the Mars. A big factor here as well was that Jokam doesn't die, right? Like, they're playing under vision. They managed to get the jump first on that smoke play onto Ramses, nail the arena combination, have, again, these two tanky frontliners cop a lot of the spells, and Jokam somehow manages to slip away while Ponyo provides the distraction on the side, giving Akashi the room to just whirlwind in. It's just ruinous for the side of Tundra. They need these auras to be up on Ramses.
That is a stupid amount of damage being pumped out from Akashi. It was just looking like such a lost team fight for Talon, but boy oh boy, just one hero shows up and everything changes immediately. Well, now Tundra, not to be outdone, they'll start to try and reclaim their side of the map. WS and Ponyo, they'll happily retreat. Thing is now, the net worth sitting at 9k the way of Talon makes it very hard for Tundra, especially with a draft like this where you want to be playing from in front. They'll TP everyone down towards the bottom side of the map, where they'll try for the Tormentor here on the Dire's side, and they will secure here for Saksa. But in the meantime, of course, Talon, they'll just take the bottom tier 1 tower for free. There's just so much catching up to do now for the side of Tundra. Like, they're just going to sit back and relax for quite a while. Especially for Pure's sake, because that man is quite behind when it comes to the net worth department.
That he is. But again, you're playing with an NP and an Alchemist. Both of these heroes will just soak up that farm a lot faster than this Luna does. And I don't know if that investment's really paying off. I do appreciate that Ramses is going for the aura coverage that they are lacking on Tundra. He's got the pipe, he's going Crimson Guard. That's going to really stall out Akashi's damage output here at the very least. but it still doesn't fix their fundamental control issue. Even if you survive the initial onslaught, I'm not sure how you deal with Arena Egg overall. I'm not sure if you have enough to burst Makoto.
Oh, I think Makoto's baiting here. His team is right behind with a big smoke out, and Thompson, he was caught on the front lines. In fact, now a big arena from WS catching 3. Snowball will save for now, but the egg just going, and now the whirlwind out from Akashi, destroying everyone. Thompson's been caught. He'll try for the Sprout TP play out, but there's just no chance in hell.
I don't think so.
Talon finding another 3 targets.
Don't be mad.
And they're feeling confident now as they'll go through the bottom tier 2 tower. Hell, they might even go to the tier 3 tower. Why the hell not?
And they've got that pushing pace with Makoto around. Not much Ramses and Pure can really do to stop this. And they've got Eclipse up, but again, how do you take these team fights, Ramses?
They've even found another Akashi. Had the Spidey senses tingling. Ramsey's still trying to fight this one out. He was kind of just left alone there for Akashi. He'll hand the tip over now. A bit of sweet, sweet revenge as Ramses just would not back off. And now the bottom racks is certainly set to go down. Back top lane, they found Pure. They have found Pure, though here comes Thompson, but you've got WS to help out, so Pure annihilated. Thompson, what can you do? The answer is nothing. Double kill for Akashi. Meanwhile, in the tire base, Saksa in huge trouble. Drinking Buddy's gonna help a little bit, but not too much, as now Whitemon also set to fall. Does go down, a full team wipe. More tips coming up from Akashi. That's the Filipino coming out at him, John. There it is.
That it is, the boy from Butuan giving the tips out. Yeah, very quiet here from our young play WS. Side of Tundra, again, they don't have a lot of play. Like, with an off lane out that didn't really pop off, going for the aura build, even with that survivability, how do you expect to fight into this? Like, 2 durable front lines, no real burst damage to speak of. Even the Ench is going to take a while to melt through as well. And you've got this Wind Ranger with so much movement and so much damage that you really don't have stable catch for. The answers are hard to find right now for the side of Tundra.
Bit of a chase. This looks like a very desperate chase here, as they are going to try on the Ench, but there's just no chance of killing Ponyo. Makoto, he's a tanky boy. I don't think Makoto's dying that easily. And props to Tundra for trying to find at least a bit of a straggler, but Talon will not allow it. In fact, Talon are looking like they're setting up for a bit of a bait play. Ooh. Hoping someone farms the mid lane, and Ramses, he'll be the man to show up. They'll make the immediate jump in. Drinking Buddy's out, but the arena gonna lock both of them down. Whitemon with the snowball, he'll buy a little bit of time, and meanwhile, Akashi right in the tier 4 towers. He could not give a crap, this man. The Wind Ranger just shredding everyone apart. There goes Thompson. There goes Ramses by the looks of it. He is gone, and GG is called. Talon will tie this series up 1-1.
That they do after a spectacular game 1 from Tundra, especially past, around 20 minutes. Talon come back in game number 2. They correct their